Well, Uncle Doug,
Uncle Mark.
I might have swallowed a fly.
Murderer!
Yeah, I might have swallowed a fly, and I don't know how I should feel about that.
You don't know why?
know why Uncle Mark swallowed that fly.
Maybe
Help me.
Maybe he'll die.
Maybe,
Well,
finally.
it's not going to be good for the fly anyway.
Either way.
Well, what can you tell me about what I've just done?
Well, okay. What you're leading into
Yes.
is that we are going to be talking about the ancient Indian religion that's Indian on the other continent.
That's right.
Not American Indian. Of Jainism.
Mm.
The Jains are so less ancient perhaps than Judaism, but ancienter than Christianity.
Kind of threads that 1,000+ year needle.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Although that might not be true, actually. If we take the Jains at their word, Jainism is way more ancienter than any of those religions, like 85,000 years to many millions of years ancient.
85,000.
Yeah, or millions.
Millions.
It just depends on who you're talking to, really.
I would dispute that because, if you want to pick a fight, you want to win a fight, pick a fight with a Jain. Right?
Well, we'll get to that. But, also if we take the Jains at their word, we can't really take them at their word, but more on that later.
Typical liars.
Right.
What we're going to get to here is Jains are liars.
Well, they
Dirty,
certainly
lying
aren't
people.
good at the truth,
Okay.
or not at the whole truth, or they don't believe. Anyway, we'll get to it. Jainism cropped up similarly to Buddhism as a response against sort of the Vedas that were pervasive religious texts in the region. As a gross oversimplification, the Vedic period was between about 1500 to 500 BCE. And from that, various religions arose, among them Hinduism, which kind of kept the Vedas going, Buddhism, which rejected the Vedas and went with the teachings of the Buddha, and Jainism, which rejected the Vedas and went with a bunch of other teachings that we really don't know where they came from. But to hear the Jains talk about it are eternal and have been passed down in this reality from a dude named Rishabhnantha.
Nailed it.
Thank you. Who lived over 1 million years ago.
Really?
And I think he lived for 8 million years himself. The teachings passed through 24 different Tirthankaras. I'm just going to have a lot of these.
Okay.
Doing research on this, it's like I have to wade through so many words that aren't in English that mean nothing to me. It's a painful thing. Anyway, so
I've had that where you bite off a topic and you're like, what have I done?
is any of this going to be in my language?
Right.
Anyway, these teachings have been passed down over the millennia until we got to now. So, special teachings.
Yeah, and I just try to imagine, like, it was silly enough in the Bible to say Methuselah was, 900?
Whatever.
900 years old, especially when you believe the Earth is 6,000 years old.
Right.
Some guy lived through 15% of that time.
Right.
But 8 million years?
Well,
I mean, at some point, you're just out of hobbies.
Prove it's wrong.
I can't.
All right. Bing.
What?
Jainists 1, Uncle Mark 0.
0, as usual. I'm the only guy that can lose to a Jain.
So these teachings that have been passed down, what are they?
Tell me.
Let's get into it. These bitches are serious. There are 5 main vows that a Jain takes on. Ahimsa, which is nonviolence.
Yeah.
Satya, which is truth, which is an interesting claim an interesting vow because we'll talk about that later. Asteya, which is non-stealing.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Brahmacharya, which is celibacy or chastity.
Okay.
And apigara, which is non-attachment. We'll talk about a few of those.
ain't no party like a Jainist party.
Right? Because a Jainist party don't start. If you know any bit of trivia about Jainism, it's likely to be ahimsa, which is their commitment to nonviolence. It's what you were referencing before. Right. This foundational tenet of their faith, and it is the foundational tenet of their faith,
right.
And they mean it. In Jainism, it is literally never okay to be violent, ever, for any reason, no matter how good or right or honorable you believe your reason was for tripping that toddler or backhanding that guy Terry from accounting, the
Right.
Jains are not on board.
So not even self-defense.
Nope. There was a period in like the Middle Ages where some Jainist philosophers apparently started to justify self-defense or
Right.
whatever, but that was a very ugly.
It was a blip. It
Ugly
didn't-
time,
It didn't
yeah.
stick.
Well, and it was when the Mughals,
The Muslim
Muslims were
taking over India.
attacking
Yeah.
and whatever and stuff. So
He's going to make you reevaluate your commitment to nonviolence.
right, yeah, exactly.
It's an invasion.
When Muslim cavalry shows up.
It starts burning down everything and
You know?
killing
Yeah.
your people. Anyway, nonviolence, according to them, is one's highest religious duty.
Right.
And that may sound extreme to some of our listeners, but hold on to your butts because it's not that's not the half of it. It extends, as you hinted before, to non-humans.
Right.
So it is about never, ever, ever hurting any of God's critters. Not that they believe in God per se. So no beef, no chicken, or fish is on the menu, sure, but also no mousetraps for your home, no pointy sticks to keep away bears or whatever. Is that a fly swatter? That's out. Got a mosquito on your arm? Let her do her business and go along her merry way. So, yes, this is where Jainism's most famous, where we get one of their most famous oddities, which is some Jains wear a piece of fabric over their mouths
Right.
on the off chance that a bug might fly in.
Right.
Don't they sweep the ground in front of them as they walk? Some of them do.
Some of them do.
So they don't step on a...
We'll get to that with some of the monks, but yes, lest they step on a bug or a whatever.
And this is an amazing commitment from a religion that sprung up in one of the most fecund parts of the world.
Oh my God!
Where, I mean, I haven't been to India myself, but I saw the Temple of Doom, and I know there's tigers and giant bats.
Yeah,
and mines full of child laborers, but no, seriously, like every sort of winged insect and
oh my God,
beetle and thing, right?
Well, and as I learned when I did go to India, and I went into the to the travel advisory thing in our county to get immunized for all of the nasties that you can get over there.
Yeah,
mosquitoes are the deadliest thing you can find.
Right.
Like
Right.
you're going to get all of the diseases every time a mosquito bites you.
And it didn't, yeah, exactly. It didn't spring up here in the high desert of Utah where
Right.
I have never swallowed a fly.
Right, yeah, exactly.
In my life.
Yeah, so there you go. They commit to not killing any animal or asking someone to kill an animal or a person or being okay with someone killing an animal or
so
a person.
they don't have a Sabbath goy where they can
Right,
say,
no.
could you please kill this fly for me?
No, they can't even talk
have
about
some Hindu
killing
kill
an
a fly
animal.
for them.
They can't even talk or think about killing.
Wow.
Because thought and spoken violence counts.
Right.
Wow.
So this commitment is not, however, about the worth or value of the little creatures. That is a misconception.
Oh.
It's not a lovey-dovey kumbaya sense of compassion for other animals or even other people, for that matter. Instead, it is more about a sort of unity in nature. There's this sense that all living creatures must help each other. Don't really know how you get the mosquitoes on board with that goal. But it is
They
about
help the worms eat by killing people.
Right, exactly. It's about the effect of violence has on the soul of the person committing it. It is a self-discipline in order to cleanse the soul, a building up of good karma.
Right.
And all of that is important because, just as in our beloved Mormonism, humans have a backstory and an ultimate eternal goal. Basically, we are all playing a cosmic video game called Resurrection. So we start out as souls bouncing around through the universe, and
Thetan's name.
yes, well, sort of. As we learn in so many religions, we're kind of gross. We, in our raw original form, we are impure.
Yeah.
So that's fine. We are born into various bodies, which we get based on how many karma points we have.
Maybe you were neutral in the war in heaven.
See? And if you weren't, you are a cockroach or whatever.
Right.
We get born into all of these different bodies, and then based on how we do karmic-wise as a cockroach or a zebra or whatever,
Zebra.
we advance to the next round.
So you have to live a moral life as a cockroach.
Yeah,
Okay.
not moral, just karmically, you got to start cleaning up the impurities.
Okay.
Sure.
I mean, maybe that's morality,
I don't
but
know
maybe
what
it's not. It's hard to know.
constitutes an ethical life for a cockroach. I
Right,
just don't know.
exactly. Yeah,
I wouldn't mind living among a more better ethical band of cockroaches.
a better class of cockroaches.
As a species, they could do better. I'm
Yeah.
just going to say that.
I feel like you just gave us the title of your memoir. A better class of cockroaches. So anyway, yes, the object of our game is to advance to better and better bodies as you get purer and purer until finally you are so pure that you stop having to do the whole rebirth thing altogether. Poof, you're
You're a spirit. You're an energy.
you're disembodied. You win.
What a wonderful goal.
Hooray. Yeah. So, for instance, you might start out as a shitty little bug, but as you get better and better at the game, you get born as purer and purer creatures. And finally, when you're real good, you get to be the top creature, a human. You've almost won, but oh no, you're a female person. So you got to do some more good stuff and avoid killing anything. And then bam, you finally get
Classic.
to be a man.
Classic. I love it.
And then after a few rounds of that, provided you don't get any demerits and sent backwards, maybe if you're super duper pure, you get to stop playing.
Wow. So we're just infinite
Yeah, it just
regenerations.
It just goes on and on and on.
The worst choose your own adventure ever.
Yes, because you don't get to choose, and it's not an adventure. And and yes, you can backslide. There's plenty of backsliding. So if you don't play your cards right.
God, the body I've got, I fucked up in my last life.
Well, I did. At least you're not a girl.
Right.
What I say to myself every morning.
And
One step above a cockroach.
And it really is that clearly delineated. Like, women aren't as good as men, and only men, you can't advance from woman to getting out of this hellhole. You gotta get to a man.
We love to talk and joke about these things, but it's amazing how all of them are far more similar than they are different.
Yeah.
Every religion we talk about, every fucking one, almost without exception.
Yeah.
The misogyny does seem to be one of the most common threads. Every religion's going to have it.
Oh, it's the foundation of every house.
All religions. Yeah. You distill them down to two things.
Yeah,
It's misogyny and that they don't like women.
And you're not supposed to have sex.
But it's amazing too. Like you're talking about reincarnation and progressing through different forms of life on the way to a more perfected form. All that stuff, like what Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism, Sikhism, like all those come out of the same, stadium essentially.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they have far more in common than they have different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially that grouping.
Absolutely.
And how does a religion that is so surprisingly killable and that doesn't like to have babies survive?
Well, let me
this
tell you
world?
something. We know, India has over 1 billion people.
Sure.
There are only about 4 to 5 million Jains left. So
Really?
So and a lot, some of them are here in the States. Our Hemant Mehta, the guy from Friendly Atheist blog. I think he was raised Jain.
He was raised a Jain.
Anywho,
Which is why he's such an asshole.
right? What a dick. One other very interesting concept in Jainism is, God damn it, Anakantavada,
Yes, rolls right off the tongue.
which I think is the state between Arizona and New Mexico, isn't
yeah,
it? Anakantavada.
right between them.
Yep. Which is the notion that the truth and reality are complex issues, and there are different perspectives to everything, and language is far too blunt a tool to express actual truth.
Huh.
So that's what I was talking about before.
That's a little outside the norm.
Well, yes. I mean, it is pretty evident to anyone who's ever tried to express the feelings that led them to follow the band Fish around for those 3 years.
Right.
Or if you've ever tried to describe the flavor of Lefroy Which, by the way, it's like if you played the grueling game of rugby and then took off your jockstrap and one gym sock and lit them both on fire and then muddled them into some whiskey while singing Loch Lomond.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That or a tree beat you up. One of the
Yeah,
two.
exactly. So, but the point being, you can express some of the truth.
Yeah.
You can experience the truth of tasting Lafroig, and you can express some of it, but you can't ever actually get it actually expressed, the truth.
Right.
Well, that's an interesting thing because many religions are like, we know what the truth is. It is this, 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 and this. This is probably this is a more honest approach, which is it's kind of unknowable.
Right. And to some extent, all expressions are considered partially valid, but none are the whole picture. So spiritual truths, just like reality, are many-sided, and it's a big mistake to ever think that there's only one way of looking at them. Now, you may ask yourself, but if no expression can be considered fully true, couldn't it be said that it's an error to have tenets of a religion at all?
That follows on pretty cleanly, yes.
Yep, you could ask that.
Yep.
That's a thing you could ask.
Yep. Sounds like it's not a question that Jains ask very often.
No, they don't seem to have. That's not part of the thing.
It seems kind of infuriating to discuss this with a Jain, right?
I've never discussed it with a Jain.
It seems a surprising tactic from a religion that espouses nonviolence,
Right.
to also be infuriating.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Fortunately for you, you can hit them and they can't do anything.
Yeah, you just punch the shit out of a Jain.
Be careful, there might be one Harrison Ford in Witness that'll punch back.
Yes, indeed.
There's someone in the witness protection program that's a fake Jain with a fucking 38.
Fuck you. Kablooey. Damn it. The one guy. Okay, so one more important idea in Jainism is non-attachment. The basic concept is that attachment to material
They don't use tape.
right, or glue.
Staples.
Right.
They just live in a very strange pile of stuff.
Right. No mortar.
No.
Or
no nails.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, attachment to material or even emotional things leads to passions, and passions lead to suffering and violence. Passions, by the way, are a huge no-no.
Passions.
You don't want them. They're no good.
Sure.
They identify the 4 key passions of the mind. So the key passions of the mind are anger, pride, deceitfulness, and greed. Okay,
Yeah.
I can see those as being not great, for the most part. Then there are the 4 passions, or then there are the 10 internal passions, which are wrong belief. The 3 sex passions: male sex passion, female sex passion, neuter sex passion.
That's interesting.
I did not delve in enough to know what that is.
That's maybe the recognition of another gender.
I don't know.
That's a nuanced, strange thing.
Or if you're passionate about your asexuality, maybe. I I don't know, but don't be.
You
don't
can be. Okay, don't be.
Don't be. And
It's
then
good to not have passions in life.
And then there are the 6 defects,
Oh, fuck.
which are
So many lists.
like, dislike, sorrow, fear, laughter, and disgust.
What the fuck? What are you allowed? These people are worse than Vulcans.
They are the most interesting people you'll never want to talk to.
Right.
Don't engage.
Don't get cornered at a party by a Jain. Or if you do, just slap your way out of it.
Right. Well,
They can't corner you. They're not allowed. They have
or-
to stand in the middle of the room and feel nothing.
right. And that kind of is the key. So yeah, laughter, right?
Laughter.
So if something that Uncle Doug says makes you laugh, and why would it? Shame on you. You're a passionate son of a bitch. 10 points taken away from Gryffindor. You're going back to being an elephant or a bug or a woman or something in the next life.
Or a woman. Wow.
Yeah, but I wanted to get into the Jains. Like the whole reason that I wanted to do the Jains is because even though their positions are extreme, there are those who take them even extremer. So there are 2 major schools of Jainism. Fuck these goddamn. Okay. Somebody needs
Dan
to
is only going to be able to do Anglo-Saxon,
right.
Western European.
Why is it that I'm the
subjects
only
from
one who has done any of the subjects that involve Sanskrit? That's what I want to know.
I know you spend a lot of time in India.
Apparently,
in these segments,
yeah. So anyway,
Because you're better at it.
Svetambara and Digambara are the two main schools of Jainism.
Yeah.
Both of them have monks and nuns, to use English words that probably don't really apply. But
Right.
You know what I mean. And they
And passionless neuters.
right, exactly. But the most fun of them all are the monks of the Digambara.
Okay.
They take this whole non-attachment thing pretty far.
Okay.
Which is to say, they are so committed to not being attached that they are only allowed to own two things: a broom / feather duster, which
And
is
a Rolls Royce.
made of peacock feathers,
And an
yes.
Xbox.
And that's the broom that they
Yeah,
use to
right.
swish away the bugs and whatever.
Yeah.
And a gourd for water.
Oh
That's
my
it.
God.
That's all
They
they
don't
own.
have clothes?
Funny you should ask. No, they don't.
They're just naked with a
They
gourd
are
and a
just
broom.
as naked as the day they were born.
I feel terrible for all the times I've called the police on naked people with gourds and brooms.
Well,
That's
yeah.
on me, Janes.
That's yeah, exactly. Those were monks.
Really?
They
So they're-
don't own food. They have to beg for all of their food. And yeah,
I don't know that any of us actually own food.
well,
We just renting.
Just renting
the stuff I ate last night I own, and you don't want it back
for a
Trust
bit.
me. Yeah, exactly.
So they're just naked. Can they be donated clothing they can have for a period of time, or they just wander around?
No, the whole and part of this is a commitment to asceticism.
Yeah.
Which is just the more austere your life is, the more of the impurity that you're
You're shedding. Yeah.
So these guys are so uber super duper close to not having to be born again. It's ridiculous. It's the opposite of born again Christianity. Your goal is never to be born again.
They really want out of this game.
They want out. So they beg for food. They don't wear any clothes.
And of course, they're vegan, obviously, right? Like extreme vegans.
Well, no, actually, they can eat dairy products as long as they know that the cow or whatever
As long as you bought it a drink after.
the ox or whatever that it came from,
I hope it didn't come from an ox, Dan. The cheese.
whatever. I'm saying as long as he had a good time while he was getting milk, it's fine.
Yeah. Dan doesn't know how cows work.
Ox cheese is very expensive.
Let me tell you something. You work it hard enough, you'll get some milk.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, so literally, as long as the cow was not mistreated in the whole time, they can do milk. I think the buffalo was the word I was looking for when I said ox.
Sure, Dan.
They do buffalo milk and cheese.
Dan's young rural life. A little bit more of the picture gets filled in every week.
I don't need your judgment. I don't need
No judgment.
Your passions about my childhood are not. You need to purge yourself of those.
No judgment.
All the oxes in town cried when Dan left.
You're going to be reincarnated as an ox. If you're not careful. So
Be so
anyway,
lucky. At least
yeah,
it's not a woman.
right.
At least not a female ox.
Yeah. They're the worst.
So that's it. If you're in India and you go to a temple and you see a bunch of like dopey looking naked dudes just walking around not feeling passionate about anything,
Yeah.
you'll at least know what's happened.
You'll know that they're the winners.
They've got you beat by a long shot, and good luck to you.
Well, with that, let's move on to our next life as a lady ox.